What if the comet racing through our solar system right now isn't a comet at all? In July of 2025, astronomers spotted something drifting silently across the sky. At first, it seemed ordinary, just another icy traveler. But within days, the data stopped adding up. Its orbit was wrong. Its speed was off the charts. Its behavior broke the rules. And one Harvard professor suggested something shocking. This object might not be natural. It could be alien technology, cloaked in ice, hiding in plain sight. This isn't the first time Earth has been visited by a stranger from deep space. In 2017, the first confirmed interstellar object, Oumuamua, tumbled past. Its shape was bizarre, long and thin like a cigar or maybe a pancake. It accelerated strangely, yet produced no tail, no outgassing, nothing to explain the push. Some scientists whispered about light sails and technology. Then, in 2019, along came Borisov. This one looked like a comet, with gas and dust streaming behind it. But its composition was strange, unlike comets we knew. These two objects divided the scientific community. Were they simply cosmic accidents or clues of something bigger? So when a third interstellar visitor appeared in 2025, astronomers knew this was rare. But nothing prepared them for how unusual it would be. On July 1st, 2025, the Atlas CHL system in Chile picked up a faint glow. The automated system tagged it a comet. The designation C/2025N1 or 3I/Atlas. But within hours, the alarms began to ring. Its orbit wasn't circular or elliptical like other comets. It was hyperbolic, a one-time pass through the solar system. Its path wasn't random. It lined up neatly with the ecliptic plane, the same flat corridor where all the planets orbit. Its brightness shifted unpredictably, and its coma, the glowing halo, was so thick it completely hid the nucleus. This wasn't behaving like a normal comet. Other observatories quickly joined in. Gemini North in Hawaii, the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope, the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and soon, even the Hubble Space Telescope joined the chase. The more telescopes looked, the stranger it seemed. On July 21st, 2025, Hubble delivered the clearest image yet. Instead of revealing a sharp nucleus, the picture showed only a ghostly halo. A dense, glowing veil of dust and ice swallowed the object's core completely. Comets do have halos, but this one was different. The coma was too thick, too opaque. Even Hubble couldn't see through it. Scientists estimated the nucleus was somewhere between 0.3 and 5.6 kilometers wide, but no one could say for sure. It was like staring at a figure behind frosted glass. You know something is there, but you can't see the face. This was our first sign that 3I/Atlas might not just be another frozen rock. Then came the numbers. NASA announced that 3I/Atlas was moving at 130,000 miles per hour. That's 58 kilometers per second. The fastest interstellar object ever recorded. Faster than Oumuamua, faster than Borisov, faster than anything we tracked drifting into the solar system. And its estimated age stunned scientists even more. Between 7.6 and 14 billion years old. That means it could be older than our solar system itself, born shortly after the Big Bang. How could something so ancient still be active, still glowing, still releasing material? That was the mystery. But speed and age weren't the only anomalies. Its orbit was the real shock. Most comets follow ellipses. They swing past the sun, then return after decades or centuries. But not this one. Its orbit was hyperbolic. That means it comes once, then leaves forever. Even stranger, it didn't enter randomly. Oumuamua had a diagonal, almost careless trajectory. Borisov too. But 3I/Atlas glided almost perfectly along the planetary corridor, the same flat disk where Earth, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter circle the Sun. Its eccentricity, the measure of how stretched its path is, was an extreme 6.2. For comparison, Oumuamua was about 1.2, Borisov about 3.4. This wasn't just unusual, it was unprecedented. To some, it looked like precision, almost as if it already knew where to go. Then astronomers projected its future path, and jaws dropped. October 3rd, 2025, it would pass just 28 million kilometers from Mars. Late October, It would swing behind the sun, disappearing from Earth's view. Early November, it would brush past Venus at 97 million kilometers. March 2026, it would approach Jupiter at 54 million kilometers. This wasn't just a straight pass. It was a sequence of planetary flybys, the exact technique spacecraft used to steal gravity and adjust course. Voyager, Cassini, New Horizons all used planetary assists to travel farther. But this wasn't a spacecraft. At least, it didn't look like one. No engines, no thrusters, no panels, just a glowing mask of ice. Still, the resemblance to a planned trajectory was hard to ignore. And then came the silence. On October 29, 2025, 3I/Atlas slipped behind the sun. From Earth, it vanished completely. No telescope could see it. No satellite could track it. Astronomers called it the blind zone. And in that silence, speculation exploded. What if it changed course behind the sun? What if it accelerated? What if it reappeared different, brighter, or dimmer, carrying secrets from its hidden passage? For weeks, the world would hold its breath, waiting for the reappearance. But even before it vanished, another puzzle emerged. In late July and early August, the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory detected water activity. 3I/Atlas was releasing about 40 kilograms of water per second, billions of molecules streaming out. That shouldn't have been possible. At that time, it was still 3.5 astronomical units from the sun, farther than Mars, colder than Jupiter. At that distance, ice shouldn't sublimate. Comets shouldn't breathe. But this one did. The light curve also behaved strangely. Bright regions dimmed, dark regions flared. It was unpredictable, almost like a machine operating on its own schedule. By now, astronomers had more questions than answers. A ghostly mask hiding the core, a speed beyond anything seen before, a path too precise to be random, and water vapor pouring out in the deep cold of space. If this was just a comet, it was unlike any comet in history. And if it wasn't, then what exactly was it? When 3I/Atlas reemerged from the glare of the sun, telescopes locked on immediately, and what they saw confirmed one thing. The nucleus was still hidden. The thick halo of ice and dust had not cleared. If anything, it looked even more impenetrable. The coma extended outward, swallowing the core in a fog that even Hubble couldn't pierce. For comets, this is unheard of. But in this case, the veil was so dense, so consistent, that some scientists began whispering about an unsettling possibility. What if this wasn't a natural shell at all? What if it was camouflage? The idea was startling. Imagine a machine disguised as a comet, covered in layers of ice and dust, drifting through space as the perfect disguise. To any observer, it would look ordinary, but inside, it could be something far different. NASA even floated a speculative theory years earlier, the possibility of ice-clad probes, ships or devices designed to look like comets. At the time, it sounded like science fiction. Now, with 3I/Atlas, the theory didn't seem so far-fetched. If the coma was a mask, then it had a purpose, and masks are worn to hide something. The period behind the sun only added fuel to speculation. For weeks, 3I/Atlas was invisible, shielded by the sun's blinding glare. This wasn't unusual for comets, but for an object already shrouded in mystery, the disappearance felt ominous. Astronomers and the public alike were left with haunting questions. Would it return brighter than before? Would its trajectory shift even slightly? Or would it emerge unchanged, but carrying clues from its unseen time? The silence was eerie. No data, no images, no confirmation. Only theories multiplying in the dark. Some imagine it using the sun as cover, like a submarine slipping beneath the waves. Others believed it was a natural pause, nothing more. But no one could deny the suspense. And when it finally reappeared, telescopes confirmed its orbit hadn't dramatically changed. But the sense of unease only grew. Because in science, sometimes what you don't see is more terrifying than what you do. Remember the water vapor detected in late July? By the time 3I/Atlas came back into view, that activity was still ongoing. This meant the object was releasing water farther from the sun than any comet had reason to. Comets typically wake up when they approach the inner solar system, their ice heated enough to sublimate. But 3I/Atlas was breaking the rules, exhaling water in regions where the cold should have kept it frozen solid. Even stranger, the light curve anomalies continued. Parts of the Comet brightened unexpectedly, while others dimmed. It wasn't behaving like random natural sublimation. To some, it looked patterned, almost deliberate. It was as if the object was doing something, though no one could say what. At this point, one voice rose above the noise. Professor Avi Loeb of Harvard. He was already infamous for his claims about Oumuamua in 2017. While most scientists cautiously labeled that object as unusual but natural, Loeb argued boldly that it might be alien technology, a light sail, a probe, evidence we are not alone. The reaction then was ridicule. Many colleagues dismissed him outright, but Loeb didn't back down. He even wrote a book titled Extraterrestrial. Now, with 3I/Atlas, Loeb stepped into the spotlight again. And once more, he went against the mainstream. He suggested that the anomalies, the hyperbolic orbit, the planetary flybys, the hidden nucleus, the unexpected water activity, all pointed to something beyond natural explanation. In his words, 3I/Atlas might not be just a comet. It could be a technological relic. And, in his boldest speculation yet, he even entertained the possibility that it might be a hostile spacecraft. The astronomy community erupted. Some accused Loeb of sensationalism, of chasing headlines. Others argued that science demands open minds, that dismissing him without proof was just as unscientific as believing blindly. Media outlets loved it. Headlines screamed across the internet. Harvard professor says new comet could be alien tech. Alien probe or just ice. Debate heats up. Forums filled with speculation. Some people laughed. Some believed passionately. Some feared what it might mean. And as always, the mystery thrived not in certainty, but in the unknown. For the general public, 3I/Atlas became more than a comet. It became a story. A cosmic traveler older than the sun, faster than anything we've seen, hiding its true face behind a mask of dust, disappearing behind the sun like a magician behind a curtain. Whether people believed it was alien tech or just a bizarre comet, one thing was undeniable. The world was watching. For scientists, it was data. For journalists, it was headlines. For ordinary people, it was wonder and maybe a little fear. Because deep down, the question wouldn't go away. What if this really is the first contact? By now, 3I/Atlas wasn't just an astronomical curiosity. It was a cultural phenomenon, a masked object older than our solar system, a path too perfect to be chance, a silence behind the sun that fueled conspiracy, and a Harvard professor daring to say the words most scientists feared, alien technology. But the story wasn't over, because the closer 3I/Atlas drew to Earth's neighborhood, the stranger the evidence became, and the final chapters of its journey would leave even skeptics unsettled. As orbital models refined, astronomers realized 3I/Atlas wasn't just passing through at random. It was weaving through the solar system on a path that looked choreographed. October 3rd, 2025, the object brushed past Mars at just 28 million kilometers away, close enough that if it were a spacecraft, it could have used the red planet's gravity as a slingshot. October 29th, 2025, at perihelion, its closest approach to the sun, it slipped into the blind zone, out of sight, hidden behind the solar curtain. November 3rd, 2025, it emerged, only to swing near Venus at a suspiciously convenient 97 million kilometers. March 2026, the journey continued toward Jupiter, closing in at just 54 million kilometers. These weren't vague projections. They were precise, calculated, and to planetary scientists, the resemblance to gravity-assist trajectories was uncanny. Voyager, Cassini, New Horizons, our spacecraft followed similar arcs, stealing momentum from planets to accelerate deeper into space. But 3I/Atlas had no visible propulsion, no control systems, nothing but its ghostly mask. Coincidence? Or design? The mask of ice theory only grew louder. If you were to send a probe into another star system, what better disguise than a comet? Icy bodies are common, ordinary, unremarkable. Wrap your technology in frozen layers. Let it trail dust and vapor, and no one would question it. It would drift unnoticed, unless someone looked too closely. And here we were, looking too closely. The fact that the coma remained impenetrable even to Hubble raised suspicion. Why was it so dense, so perfectly opaque? Was it simply an unusually active comet, or was it the perfect camouflage? Spectral data added fuel to the fire. Observatories detected giant grains of ice inside the coma, unusually large and inconsistent with normal sublimation. It was as if something beneath was producing the fog deliberately, maintaining its veil. Every attempt to study the nucleus hit the same wall. We couldn't see it. Even as telescopes collected terabytes of data, the face of 3I/Atlas remained hidden. And for many, that was the most chilling detail. Not that we couldn't explain its orbit, not even its impossible water emissions, but that its true core was concealed. What hides for a reason. By this stage, 3 dominant theories emerged. Natural comet, a bizarre but natural object, perhaps the most extreme comet ever seen. Ancient, fast, eccentric, but explainable with rare physics. Artificial probe, a technological relic disguised in ice, using planetary flybys like a spacecraft on a mission. Something else entirely, a category of object we don't yet understand. Neither comet nor craft, but something new. Avi Loeb doubled down on the artificial hypothesis. Critics pushed back harder. The media amplified every word, and the public divided between disbelief and fascination. The one thing no one could deny, 3I/Atlas didn't fit comfortably into any box. The object's projected path promises even more mysteries. By the time it brushes past Jupiter in 2026, astronomers will have collected an enormous data set. Orbital plots, brightness curves, spectral fingerprints. But even then, the true nature of 3I/Atlas may remain hidden, because once it leaves Jupiter behind, it will accelerate into interstellar space and never return. We may only get this one chance. If it is natural, it's a once-in-a-lifetime scientific treasure. If it's not, then it's something far more profound. Beyond the science, 3I/Atlas has become a kind of mirror. It reflects back to us our hopes and fears. For scientists, it's a test of humility. How much are we willing to admit we don't know? For believers, it's confirmation that we're not alone. For skeptics, it's a reminder that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But regardless of belief, one truth remains. The universe is stranger than we imagine. And sometimes, it sends us visitors that force us to ask the hardest question. So what is 3I/Atlas? A lonely block of ancient ice? A probe drifting on a mission we can't comprehend? Or something we don't even have words for yet? Whatever it has already changed the way we look at the sky. It reminds us that the universe isn't static. It isn't predictable. It is alive with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And perhaps, just perhaps, this one mystery is looking back at us. So as 3I/Atlas continues its silent flight through our solar system, one thing is certain: the world is watching. Every telescope, every scientist, every curious mind. Because if this is just a comet, it will be the strangest comet we've ever seen. And if it's not, then we may be witnessing the first undeniable sign that we are not alone. Either way, history is being written above our heads. And when the truth finally emerges, it may change everything. So don't look away, because this story is only just beginning.